If I look rough, that's because I just woke up. I actually have been on a little bit of a hiatus. I started my vacation from work the other day, and I decided to just sleep. Twilight later sleep and catch up on some TV. Took a bit of a break from doing videos and playing too many games online, stuff like that. I just kind of separated myself, got away from everything, and just kind of chilled. But now I'm back, and the first thing I ended up watching while I was off was Sausage Party Foodtopia, and I have to say it was pretty dookie. It was dookie. I'm not gonna lie. So I actually initially cut it off after about the 15-minute mark because I was like, yo, this is just not that funny. It's not that great. The shocking humor in it is being rehashed just to be more shocking, even though like the shock's over. Now it's just kind of being gross. So basically, to kind of give you a recap, if you didn't watch the movie kind of goes into this weird state of like they're completely oblivious to the real world. So it's about food that's anthropomorphic. They have sentience and a vague understanding of the world. Now, what they think is the great beyond or whatever is when they get checked out and taken home to somebody's house, and what they don't know is they get eaten. So that's like the big joke, is they think that they're going to basically heaven. And one guy gets returned, and they call him an absolute, crazy person, but he's telling everybody, they're gonna kill you, they eat us, these gods of ours, they eat us. Basically, in the show, they find out that they're all just pretty much meant for murder. That's it. They're just going to be eaten, and they try to save themselves from the people. They find out gods can be killed, so they know that, basically they call them humans at that point. They find out bath salts can break the barrier between reality, apparently, which allows them to see the food, and then that's when all hell breaks loose. They start fighting them, and they want their independence at Shopwell, to which they want to make their own Foodtopia. Now, the ending is where the shocking part comes in. They just have an all-out orgy, just an absolute food sex fest, and that's pretty much the end for that, except for there's a little bit thing at the end where the cameo, the voice actors, where they're like, wait a minute, we're just a TV show, we're a movie, that's it? Like, we were just created by a bunch of people, and it's supposed to be a small little gag. So, like, oh yeah, look, we acknowledge we're a TV show, we're a movie, ha. Yeah, all that goes out the window as of right now, at least, because as soon as the show starts up, they're at war. They're killing humans. Shopwell is destroyed. There is, like, no ceiling, no roof, no structure. It's falling apart. And they're supposed to be going to what they call Foodtopia. Now, basically, what happens is, like, you see the beginning, they're still at war. And right after the war, or whatever, like, they kill the last human that is in their vicinity. Essentially, right then and there, they decide, all right, we won. Time to have another sex scene. So it's non-stop orgy again. And that's kind of where I was like, yeah, this is a little weird. It's not, like, it kind of takes away from the fact that the ending of the first one, we're just going to rehash that instantly and try to dial it up with like a lower budget. That's another thing that kind of ruins it, is how terrible the animation is. It's definitely looks like it's missing frames. It looks very rotoscoped in a way. Like you can see at some points when they're like running, it's almost like definitely the entire area is not moving, but the character is trying to move, and they're not moving. Like, it doesn't look good. It looks terrible. Now, I could probably, subvert expectations on the budget, but it is so painfully obvious that they cut the budget that you just can't help. It takes away from the show. It's like one of those Disney films, it's supposed to be CG and it's direct to DVD. You can definitely tell that they took a bit of a pay cut, and that's exactly what happened here. Just to keep the voice actors, I'm pretty sure, paid. Because that's another thing. I don't think they dipped in quality as far as their voice actors. They paid up, pretty much all the same ones. It's a returning cast, except for some of the side characters. So basically, they got to, what happens right after the giant sex scene is it starts to rain. Now, rain, as you would know, would destroy like pastries and all sorts of bread-based products, and that's what happens. They're all getting destroyed and they're running. And they do actually, which is kind of funny later, they do kind of nitpick what is sentient, because they ask, well, is it the water inside the bottle? Is it the bottle itself? How does a packaging of bread not alive, but like a pack of chips is, stuff like that. They start picking, what makes them sentient, what is alive, and what isn't, which I think is kind of funny. It's like it's like a little quick and you miss it moment, but yeah, it kind of made me laugh a little bit, and that was it. That's the only thing that made me ponder this show. It just seemed like they were trying to break their own logic. But back to the rain. Basically, it's raining, and everybody's trying to run, and the rain looks just god-awful. Like, you get to this point where they're all about to make it, and then this flood comes in, and it looks horrible. So they finally, they live. Gum dies, just instantly dies. Let's just go ahead and say that. Like, there's no It's not, it's very anticlimactic. It's so instant. It's like in the beginning, the first episode. So he dies, and the whole point is he was supposed to help them find Foodtopia, and now they don't know what to do. So basically, this is where they all the food items decide to go back to Shopwell, which is, by the way, deteriorating and falling apart, until they get told what is the magic of, like, why is the sky leaking? Why is there water coming from it? But that's where we get our first big adventure, where they got to go find humans and be able to explain what rain is. And while they're doing this, I forget his name, but it's the little hot dog, ends up trying to save some people, put them on a picnic blanket, and then they go and find a donut or a piece of, like, a jelly-filled donut or whatever, pastry, and they're trying to move them. Well, they find out it's a bite mark. He finds the humans, and they're, driving away on a boat. They find out that pastry isn't going to make it, so they go on their own adventure to try to find the humans that kidnap some people so they can find out what rain is. There's a big, huge fight scene in that, which was kind of funny, but essentially they start talking about how their brains are in their assholes, because if you remember in the movie, Douche decides to overtake a human, kind of Ratatouille style, which is the joke, tugging on somebody's nuts with his handle up its ass and pulling them around to, move them like a giant meat mech suit. And they do it again. That's kind of the gimmick in this one. The hot dog goes over, finds a slug, lubes himself up, shoves his head up his ass, and starts using his nuts to help him kind of kill the other humans. Now, it kind of takes away from the joke that it's Ratatouille inspired, obviously, because as soon as he does it to the guy, he's like, oh my god, this guy's piloting me. I don't know, so he's treating me like some kind of Ratatouille. And, like, yeah, okay, we knew that. Like, that was the joke. You didn't have to, say it out loud. That just kind of takes away from it. It's like, yeah, we get it. You're making fun of Ratatouille. But I don't know why. It just kind of took it away from me. So they find a human to use and pilot to bring back to explain what rain is. And since all these Neanderthals, while they're inside the shop, basically it's falling apart, he comes in there to say, yeah, this is what rain is. Rain is from the sky. If you see it's blue, it's not going to rain. If you see marshmallows in the sky, it's going to rain. And they're like, well, sky blue. Yes, let's run. Okay. And the first thing he does, he points out to this big giant gate. He says, there's Foodtopia. And that's basically the end of the first act. There's basically 3 acts. The first one, the bad guy is the sky. The second one, the bad guy is a crow. And then the third one is politics. It's a little bit of a gag on Donald Trump. You can definitely tell just by the way he looks. But it gets weirder and weirder. I'm not going to ruin the entire show. If you want to go watch it, you can. This is just the first 2 episodes. But later on, it just gets a little bit more obscure. They start killing off characters, and a lot of it is just it feels forced to me. It does not feel as naturally funny as the first one. The first one felt more ad-libbed, and the writing seemed like they did the writing around the jokes. Instead, in this one, it seems like they're trying to force the puns and jokes, so it's not as funny. I don't know if it was just for a paycheck. You could tell Seth Rogen is Amazon's child right now. They are cradling him hard. He is pushing out content for him. It's definitely getting people to watch their, watch their shows. He's pretty much 4 out of 5 at this point, because all his other shows have done pretty well. But this one, I think, is going to bomb. I'm going to keep bombing. And speaking of bombing, quite literally, I think it's got a 62% on Rotten Tomato. It's actually lower now. It went to 53% with a 55% average audience score. So yeah, it's actually just kind of getting smashed right now. And I can see why. You got low quality. The jokes aren't hitting anymore. They're trying to do the same shock jock humor that is not, it doesn't deliver when you've already done it. So I think them trying to stretch this out into 8, 9 episodes just doesn't hit well as it did as a movie for an hour and a half. They got all they needed in an hour and a half, one film. The jokes were there, and it was pretty much over. We didn't need more details in the world. It was over with. It was done. You finished the entire thing. And I don't think they're going to be able to recover. If they do a second season, I'll be surprised because this should tell you nobody wants it. But that's about all I got to say. Y'all have a good one.